The stories presented in this video are real, but we have changed the characters' names and altered images to protect their identities. The creator of this video is not an investigative officer. These narratives have been sourced from various internet platforms. Our intent is not to accuse or target anyone in particular. Thank you for understanding.
New York, Manhattan, March 6, 2023. A millionaire's dead body is found by the cops in his opulent mansion. An apparently innocent housewife from next door is involved in what starts out as a tragic accident and turns into a story of lies, treachery, and murder. Lisa Thompson, an apparently dedicated housewife, lives with her husband, Mark, and their 2 kids in the Upper West Side, a wealthy neighborhood. From the outside, their life seems to be quite lovely, but Lisa is filled with a deep emptiness, a want for attention and excitement that her everyday life is unable to provide. Successful attorney Mark is frequently preoccupied with his work, which makes Lisa feel alone and undervalued. Robert Caldwell, a wealthy businessman with a reputation for charm and a confident demeanor, lives across the street. Emily, his wife, is a successful executive whose work commitments require her to spend a lot of time away from home. Robert hides a profound sense of loneliness behind his opulent lifestyle and large property. Even though he is successful, he longs for a relationship and the family life that his marriage does not provide. Their encounter is sparked by a neighborhood get-together, a fancy summer party hosted by acquaintances they both attend. Robert is immediately drawn to Lisa when she walks into the yard wearing a dress that is both exquisite and modest. They couldn't deny it, but their first exchange is informal, full of pleasantries and courteous laughing. It radiated the fact that a flame was lit beneath the surface of their everyday discussion. Their paths intersect often over the next few weeks. Their clandestine attraction is fueled by brief touches and shared looks during neighborhood gatherings. Because of Lisa's grace and beauty, Robert can't stop thinking about her. In turn, Lisa is attracted to Robert's charm and the lavish care he gives her. Before long, their romance turns into a serious relationship. It starts with a covert meeting in posh cafes and quiet areas of city parks. Every moment they steal strengthens their relationship and stokes their passion. In Robert's presence, Lisa feels alive, and her ordinary existence becomes less significant. For Robert, Lisa is a symbol of the love and warmth he longs for. Their affair intensifies as the weeks stretch into months. They experience passionate moments and emotional times in opulent hotel rooms during the afternoons. As a demonstration of his growing love for Lisa, Robert buys her numerous pricey presents, such as exquisite jewelry and designer gowns. Lisa enjoys their covert romance's intensity and attentiveness. Robert becomes oblivious to the truth of their connection as his affections for Lisa deepen. He starts to believe that Lisa is the missing component of his life, the love he has been looking for. Sensing that Lisa might be the one to break his heart, he starts to feel as though he has made a mistake with his wife. To put it simply, he loved Lisa. Lisa is a skilled manipulator who presents herself as the ideal mate while deftly appealing to Robert's desires. To further win Robert over, she tells him about her bad marriage and portrays Mark as cold and heartless. Each encounter brings them closer to a precarious edge as their affair develops into a complicated mashup of passion and deceit. Captured by his emotions, Robert believes he has found true love in Lisa. He envisions a time when they can be together freely, free from the constraints of their present existence and without concealment. But Lisa is up to a different game. Regaining a sense of excitement and agency is more important to her than love. She relishes the thrill of the forbidden, the control she has over Robert, and, above all, the opulent presents he gives her. She sees the affair as a means of addressing the gap in her life without upsetting the security that her marriage to Mark offers. The stakes increase as their connection develops. The lies get more intricate and perilous, and their covert rendezvous become riskier. Although there is a risk of detection in every encounter, neither party can bring themselves to stop it. Robert continues to believe that their love is genuine and unadulterated, blissfully oblivious of Lisa's true character. Overwhelmed by his feelings, Robert begins making plans for his future with Lisa. He dreams about the day they can leave their marriages and begin a new life together, and he envisions a life in which they may be openly together. He suggests purchasing a home in a different city so they won't have to conceal. He even begins exploring possible areas to live and perusing real estate listings. He receives encouragement and support from Lisa, who is skilled at influencing others. Although she conceals her true motivations from him, she gives him the impression that she is equally delighted. This affair, which is based on deception and falsehoods, is on the verge of disintegrating. Robert is so enamored with Lisa that he doesn't notice how she manipulates him. Unaware that Lisa is only using him to get out of the limitations of her own life, he thinks he has found his soulmate. The romance lasts for 3 years, during which Lisa deftly upholds her facade as a devoted mother and wife. From the outside, Lisa seems to be the ideal housewife, running her home with efficiency and style. She supports Mark's profession, throws dinner parties, and goes to school functions while skillfully managing her covert life with Robert. Robert and Lisa meticulously arrange their covert meetings to appear like social gatherings or straightforward errands. They constantly look for methods to maintain their enthusiasm, meeting in upscale hotels and remote vacation homes. A comfortable lodge in the mountains is one of their favorite spots since it allows them to spend a few days away from the spotlight without fear of detection. They have a lot of sex and have lengthy chats during their intensive time together. Being adept at hiding her double life, Lisa ensures that neither her husband, Mark, nor their kids have any suspicions. Robert grows more and more reliant on Lisa, yearning for her love and companionship. He views her as his lifeblood, someone who infuses his otherwise lonely existence with energy and love. As his love for her deepens, he begins to see a time when they might be openly together without the constraints of their present existence. Constantly anticipating the future, Lisa exploits Robert's feelings. By promising that they will be together after they are free from their husbands, she convinces him to put her in his will. Lisa is a master of language, skillfully combining genuine devotion with deft manipulation. She depicts a happy and loving life that is very different from the truth of her marriage to Mark. While making sure she maintains control of the situation, she keeps Robert interested by giving him hope that they will be together in the future. Robert obeys without question since he is so enamored of Lisa. He changes his will to give her a sizable portion of his wealth and assets. He sees this gesture as a binding pledge of their shared existence and a tribute to their love. Lisa, however, sees it as a way to safeguard her future, a safety net that guarantees her comfort and self-reliance. Mark is unaware of Lisa's secret existence back home. He spends much of his time and energy on his difficult job, so suspicion is minimal. He has complete faith in Lisa since he thinks she is the devoted companion she seems to be. Mark feels secure since their marriage is normal and predictable, despite the lack of passion. Robert's wife, Emily, trusts her husband's faithfulness and spends much of her time away on business. Being a high-ranking executive necessitates extensive travel, and she frequently spends weeks away from home. Unaware of the affair that has been going on right in front of her, she thinks Robert is faithful and devoted. Because of Emily's frequent absences and Mark's attention to his job, Lisa and Robert's interactions are kept under wraps. Using the stability of their marriages as a cover, their affair flourishes right in front of everyone. But there's always a chance of being discovered. They nearly did once. Following one of their covert encounters, Robert had left a tiny gift, a bracelet that Lisa had admired, in her car. Lisa neglected to conceal it in her haste to get home. Later that night, Mark noticed and inquired about it. Lisa hastily conjured up a narrative about getting it as a treat for herself. Mark's skepticism made her heart race, but she was able to ignore it. Both of them were reminded of how quickly their secret may be revealed by the near miss. They carried on with their romance in spite of the alarm, always mindful of the danger that may be found anywhere. Robert starts to notice something is wrong in the first few months of 2023. Even though he loves Lisa very much, he begins to notice small discrepancies in her stories. Once easily brushed aside, doubts and questions now plague him. It became harder to ignore little things like her abrupt detachment in her formerly loving communications, her avoidance of discussing their future plans, and her obvious lack of excitement during their private encounters. Lisa, who is skilled at lying, observes Robert's increasing discomfort. She makes an effort to comfort him by using kind words and loving actions, but the doubt has already begun to grow. The basis of their affair begins to erode under the weight of suspicion, and Robert's vision of the ideal family life with Lisa starts to fall apart. One night, Robert confronts Lisa since he can no longer keep his worries to himself. A secluded area of their preferred hotel suite serves as the environment, which is cozy and comfortable. Tension is high as Robert demands the truth in a quivering voice. His gaze searches hers for any hint of honesty as he asks her directly about the inconsistencies in her stories. Lisa's well-crafted facade starts to crumble. Her typically assured demeanor falters, and she is momentarily speechless. Robert, nevertheless, continues, his desperation evident. He describes the discrepancies he has observed, each of which is a component of the whole that has brought him to this point of conflict. Lisa frantically attempts to restore control as her web of lies starts to fall apart. Robert sees right through her half-truths and justifications. It becomes increasingly clear as she speaks that her charm and cunning are insufficient to soothe him. When there are no more lies to say, Lisa's actual character is revealed. In an effort to ensure their future together, she had been putting pressure on Robert to name his investments and bank accounts in her name. She even proposed that they sell his house and move to a new location together, but she consistently seemed more concerned with the practical than the sentimental. Robert begins to see that her actions were motivated more by protecting his finances than by love. Robert is devastated as the truth is revealed. He realizes that the woman he believed to be his love interest was taking advantage of him for financial gain, which makes him feel both angry and heartbroken. It turns out that the notion of a happy, loving, and ideal future with Lisa is a complete fabrication. Robert must confront the agonizing truth that the woman he loved never genuinely cared for him after the heartbreaking betrayal. He finds it difficult to accept the reality because of the great shock of this discovery. Robert's body is discovered in his opulent home on February 28, 2023. His housekeeper finds his lifeless body and promptly contacts the police. The reason of death initially seems to be a heart attack, which is a terrible but typical occurrence for a man Robert's age and way of life. His neighbors and friends are devastated by the loss of the vivacious businessman. But the first thought of a heart attack is quickly called into question. The coroner does a comprehensive autopsy due to the circumstances surrounding Robert's death. A startling revelation is made while the forensic investigation goes on. Robert was poisoned. What appeared to be a natural death is transformed into a murder case when traces of a deadly chemical are discovered in his system. Community members are shocked by the revelation. To find possible motives and suspects, the police begin a thorough investigation that explores Robert's personal and professional life. His closest friends and family soon come into focus, and Lisa, his covert lover, emerges as a fascinating figure. When Robert's information are revealed, the attention will increase. It turns out that Lisa is the main beneficiary and will receive a sizable share of his wealth and assets. This revelation raises questions and paints Lisa in a negative light, suggesting that she may be a criminal with a definite money motivation. Investigators begin piecing together what happened before Robert passed away, paying particular attention to Lisa's relationship with him, their covert encounters, and her behavior in the final days and weeks of his life. As they look more closely, they find contradictions and warning signs that point to Lisa's possible involvement. They create an unappealing image. It appears that Lisa intended to use all methods necessary to inherit Robert's fortune because she was driven by avarice and a desire for an opulent lifestyle. Lisa had continued to present herself as a loving mother and a loyal wife. But as the investigation progresses, this facade starts to fall apart. Her flawless image was exposed as a falsehood when the police discovered proof of her deception and machinations. She is now viewed with suspicion and mistrust by friends and neighbors who formerly appreciated her grace and elegance. They find it incomprehensible that the woman they seem to be familiar with could be capable of such heartless behavior. The evidence against Lisa grows stronger as new information becomes available. Witnesses come forward with tales of her peculiar remarks and actions. Close examination of financial data reveals discussions and transactions that imply Lisa was scheming to get Robert's money. According to these documents, Lisa convinced Robert to include her name on his will, which sparked suspicion right away. Given that there was no obvious reason for such a close relationship, why would a married lady be named in another man's will? When Mark, Lisa's husband, learns of his wife's affair with Robert and the potential role she played in his demise, he is taken by surprise. He had been so preoccupied with his work that he had failed to see Lisa's double existence. The realization that the lady he believed he knew and loved may have been cheating on him and planning to kill another man for his money hits him hard. Mark struggles to comprehend how his wife could have concealed such a sinister secret from him, leaving him to struggle with feelings of betrayal and incredulity. The evidence against Lisa is indisputable as the investigation goes on. Investigators find emails and texts between Lisa and Robert that show her manipulative side but also depict a passionate affair. Lisa seems to deftly manipulate Robert's feelings in these exchanges, making him feel valued and unique while quietly pressuring him to make financial concessions to her. It becomes evident that love and passion were not the only aspects of Lisa and Robert's relationship. It was a well-thought-out strategy to safeguard her financial future. She made sure she would be the only heir to Robert's money by using her charm and his obsession with her. Once viewed as a romantic diversion from their troubled marriages, the story of their covert affair is now revealed to be a dark conspiracy driven by treachery and ambition. Ultimately, the growing body of information presents a discrediting image of Lisa's character. She is charged with planning Robert's poisoning in order to gain his fortune. In addition to exposing the specifics of her romance, the study also reveals the sinister and perverse motivations that drove her behavior. Everyone who knew her is shocked by the case, and the community must cope with the fallout after learning that one of its own might be capable of such callous manipulation and treachery. The formerly peaceful neighborhood is now the center of controversy and intrigue due to the constant media coverage. Now that she may be charged, Lisa is under careful scrutiny as the inquiry gets closer to exposing the entire scope of her role in Robert's premature death. However, all of this was merely conjecture, and the inquiry had yet to find any hard evidence that would implicate Lisa. Thus, the investigation became more thorough, and this is precisely how it proceeded from the time of Robert's death. We are aware of that. Police find Robert's body in his penthouse on March 6, 2023. The wealthy neighborhood is clouded by the rapid dissemination of news of his unexpected death. When the autopsy indicates that poisoning was the cause of death, the investigation, which had previously focused on natural reasons, takes a sinister turn. Detectives examine Robert Caldwell's wife, Emily Caldwell, 2 days later on March 8, 2023. She offers a convincing alibi by stating that she was out of town on business when he passed away. Emily, who everyone believes has been unaware of her husband's adultery, points the finger at Lisa throughout the interview, implying that her husband had an affair and the reasons behind it. By March 10th, detectives have uncovered Robert and Lisa's private correspondence and bank records, revealing the depth of their covert relationship. The emails and chats show a complicated web of deceit and manipulation planned by Lisa, in addition to an affair. Reports from Toxicology 5 days later verify that Robert's system contains an uncommon toxin. An additional level of premeditation is added to the case when it is discovered via further examination of Lisa's internet activity that she had done a great deal of study on this specific poison. Surveillance footage from a local drugstore shows Lisa buying poison components under a false identity on March 20th. The grainy photos reinforce the mounting suspicion against Lisa by offering a vital connection between her and the tools used to kill Robert. Finally, the police arrive on March 25, 2023. Lisa's facade as the ideal mother and wife is destroyed when she gets arrested at her house. The evidence against her is so strong that she is charged with Robert's murder. When the entire scope of Lisa's deceit and the terrible conclusion of her affair with Robert are revealed, the neighborhood is left in disbelief. The prosecution presents Lisa with overwhelming evidence during the trial. It is revealed that Lisa manipulated Robert by persuading him to alter his will in her favor through the use of emails and texts. As the private and calculating character of her communications is exposed, a clear picture of her objectives is painted, and the courtroom is filled with gasps. Following witness testimony, friends and neighbors testify. They recounted how they often saw Lisa and Robert together, mentioning their intimate bond and making references to the affair. These testimonies offer a more comprehensive framework, supporting the story of Lisa's dishonesty and hidden agenda. Additionally, the prosecution provides money records that establish a direct connection between Lisa and the poison's purchase. She is further linked to the crime by bank records and receipts that show she purchased the materials under false pretenses. The last nail in the coffin is her digital trace, which demonstrates her careful and thorough planning when researching the poison. Lisa's lawyers contend in her defense that Emily set her up in order to exact revenge for her husband's adultery. Emily is shown as a woman who has been spurned and is able to plan a complex plot to incriminate Lisa. Nevertheless, the overwhelming weight of the evidence, which includes witness statements, emails, financial records, and digital traces, against Lisa is indisputable. The prosecution's case is nonetheless compelling in spite of the defense's attempts to raise questions. The jury returns a unanimous decision after considering the huge body of evidence. The truth of Lisa's betrayal and murder of Robert is exposed for everyone to see, and her fate is sealed. Lisa receives a life sentence after being convicted guilty of first-degree murder. As the verdict is read and the seriousness of her acts becomes clear, the courtroom falls silent. The community is shocked after being mesmerized by Lisa's idyllic suburban facade. The complex web of deceit and manipulation that ultimately resulted in Robert's death reveals the shadowy side of their ostensibly perfect community. The story turns into a terrifying illustration of how dishonesty and greed may have disastrous results. Once admirers, Lisa's friends and neighbors now struggle with the brutal truth of who she really is. The tale of Robert Caldwell and Lisa Thompson is a sobering reminder of the evil that can lurk beneath a well-maintained facade. The public is enthralled by Lisa Thompson's trial, which exposes the sinister intricacies of a seemingly flawless life. Why would someone go to such lengths? Did justice really get done? These issues continue to be discussed and debated because they are persistent in the public mind. Even though the court case is over, the effects of this gruesome incident are still felt today, serving as a constant reminder of the destructive force of dishonesty and greed. We appreciate you coming along to help us unravel this heartbreaking tale. Remember to click here for another true crime story and subscribe to the channel.